Our brains have an incredible capacity to be flexible, to learn new things, and yet stable to remember old things. For instance, you can remember what a neuron is, and you can also store this new information about neurons I'm going to tell you in the next few minutes. But how can your brain do both? I study how neurons represent the physical world around us, both flexibly and stably, through sequences. Today, I'll take you on a behind-the-scenes tour of my research, surveying the sequences in our brains. As we navigate our world, neurons in the brain fire electrical pulses. Imagine, for instance, navigating from your bedroom to your kitchen. While you walk, different neurons fire at different times. If we look at where you are when each neuron fires, we can see what each neuron might represent. If the first neuron fires when you are standing at the door, we could say the neuron represents the door. Imagine that's like a word. I study how many neurons fire together, one after another, to form something like a sentence. So several neurons firing in a sequence could say door, left, stairs, right, forming a sentence. Go out the door, turn left, down the stairs, and turn right. Those same neurons could fire in a different order to give you a new sentence, a new set of directions to a different room in your home. I want to understand how neurons can use these sequences to rearrange as the brain learns new things and recall patterns as the brain remembers old things. In particular, I study these sequences during navigation, which is impaired early in Alzheimer's disease, and in a brain region affected by Alzheimer's. To survey these sequences, I listened to neurons in mice learning to navigate a maze. Let's look at how I use mice, mazes, and electrodes in my research. I use mice so that I can relate neurons to behavior. Each mouse plays a special role in my experiment. They each have their own name and unique personality. To listen to their neurons, I perform a surgery to implant an electrode into the brain of each mouse. Within just a few days, these marvelous mice have fully recovered and are eager to run around solving the mazes I build for them. Happy mice mean good data, so a big part of my day-to-day work is playing with the mice, giving them treats and toys, closely monitoring their health, and making sure they enjoy the mazes. My mice navigate automated mazes looking for food rewards. A tiny computer operates a collection of sensors, valves, and doors, all attached to a custom laser-cut maze. In one maze, doors open on the left to reveal one of the arms. The mouse must choose the same arm on the right to get a food reward. When a mouse puts its nose in a hole at the end of the maze arm, a sensor detects the nose and sends a signal to the tiny computer, which uses code to determine if that's the correct arm. If it is, it opens the valve to release their favorite food, chocolate soy milk. Without any instructions, just through trial and error, the mice learn this maze. So I can ask, how do the sequences of neurons firing change to represent the correct versus incorrect paths in this maze? Then, without telling the mice, I switch the rule, and the mice quickly learn that they now must choose the opposite arm on the right to get food. Then I can ask, how do the sequences change when the rule changes? To record these sequences, I need an electrode that can record hundreds of neurons. Fortunately, that electrode was built a few years ago, but it's rather expensive and not designed for applications where the mice move around. So I designed a 3D printed implant and a novel neurosurgery so that I can attach the electrodes to the skull, then recover them for reuse. This was a particularly exciting challenge because it had to be very small and lightweight. A mouse weighs less than an ounce, and the tops of their heads are less than half an inch wide. My implant design weighs less than 4 grams and can record hundreds of neurons simultaneously every day for many weeks. Using the mazes and electrode implants I have developed, I get to answer fundamental questions about how the brain works. I'm exploring how the brain learns new things and remembers old things through neurons firing in a sequence. Understanding these sequences could hold the key to unlocking therapies for disorders of learning and memory.